We're talking about this week's big release, Ek Villain.
Mohit Suri's Ek Villain is essentially old wine in a new bottle. Our hero is a Goan gangster's henchman, Guru, played by Sidharth, who reforms because of the love of a bubbly do-gooder, Aisha, played by Shraddha Kapoor. Aisha has resolved to save this angry young man's soul. So our hero is also a villain who has no compunctions about setting a rival on fire after dousing him in kerosene on the streets of Panjim, that too in front of his family. The couple sings a few songs, gets charmed by CGI dolphins, butterflies and peacocks, and then they get married. But the course of true love never did run true. Enter a psychopathic killer, Ritesh Deshmukh, who plays a lower middle class, shore-dwelling Maharashtran whose wife constantly taunts him for being a loser. Ritesh finds catharsis for his frustration by donning a raincoat and gloves and then stabbing women who ridicule him with a long red screwdriver. Wonderful phallic imagery. Bubbly do-gooder Aisha is hurled to her death just when villain-turned-hero Guru has found a legitimate job. Naturally, Guru vows revenge and hunts down the real villain Ritesh. The film then unfolds as not Ek Villain, but Anek villains indulge in a cat-and-mouse game of murder and mayhem.
Well, the film, of course, is directed by Mohit Suri. If you purely go in terms of percentage profits or sort of investment you make in a film and the revenues you earn out of it, Aashiqui 2, his last movie, was the biggest hit of 2013. Clearly, there's huge anticipation with this one. There are those elements that we saw in Aashiqui 2 that exist here as well. Shraddha Kapoor is one of them. The second is the Dard Bhare Sufi songs that you can't but avoid. The film, I think, in terms of look, in terms of the sets, which are quite appealing, in terms of aesthetic value, is quite decent. I think the director is in good nick in that sense, in terms of craft, in terms of form. What it lacks is perhaps the writing. It's poor, pathetic piece of writing.
Absolutely. In fact, one of the things about this film that I really appreciated was Goa being shot very evocatively, with a little bit of Mauritius thrown in for good measure, doubling up as Goa. And what's a Goan film without Remo Fernandes? Not this time as a guitar strumming troubadour, but in fact as the dreaded gangster Caesar. And Remo surprisingly acquits himself quite admirably, except in a couple of scenes where Caesar suffers a couple of seizures and is rather apoplectic. but outside of that, you know, Kamal R. Khan, Remo Fernandes, all these guys put in some great cameos. The girl who plays Ritesh Deshmukh's wife has put in a wonderful performance as a shrewish.
But you know, since we're talking about female actors, I think one of the things that I find incredible is Shakti Kapoor's daughter, Shraddha Kapoor. Shakti Kapoor, of course, will be remembered all his life for two great roles. One is Crime Master Gogo from, of course,
Andaz
Apna Apna, and the other one is a lesser known film but a bigger cult, that's Gunda, where he plays, I can't name his character here because I'm presuming the kids are watching the show as well. Outside of those two particular characters, I think, and he's worked in about 400 productions at least, his greatest contribution to cinema is his daughter Shraddha. I think she lights up the screen, and the story really revolves around her and this goon Sidharth Malhotra. At some level it's a romance, a very mushy romance in terms of how the goon becomes a good man. But I think what I found really weird about the film is that this is called Ek Villain, but it has at least 4 anti-heroes, 2 completely separate storylines which are not related to each other. I don't even want to get into how they link those 2 genres. And effectively, the second film that you're watching is a hardcore psychotic picture about a serial killer who hates screechy women, goes to their homes, uses a screwdriver and kills them. I mean, that is the kind of crazy Korean bloodfest, which of course has been taken from a crazy Korean bloodfest. Exactly. I Saw the Devil. Yes. Merging these 2, I wasn't too sure whether I was watching Ek Villain or 2 movies.
Yes, I mean, I think that schizophrenic personality also is a little bit of Mohit Suri's own mindset. There is a schizoid personality at play here as a director and author. But I have to say that you know, that cloyingly sweet, terminally ill Shraddha. You just wish at some point she would die, but then she isn't dying, but then she dies.
And then she isn't dying.
And then she isn't dying. And so it goes, and so it goes, till finally it's all a merry mess at the end. So yes, I mean, unfortunately, very earnest performances, let down by a really vapid screenplay and some really middling dialogue. There's a point at which Kamal R. Khan, again, our clear favorite and the true hero of this film.
Leave him alone.
How can we leave him alone? How can we leave him alone?
Well, he should leave us alone, yeah.
Ritesh Deshmukh lounging in a pool on an inflatable raft, and he says they've picked up this hooker, and he says to Ritesh, "Do you want to do a solo with her or a duet with me?" It's this kind of stuff that.
So what's the verdict, Fahad?
Well, the verdict is a very charitable dekho as far as I'm concerned. More so for the fact that there's really earnest performances all round. Really let down by a very poor screenplay, but dekho, fursat se dekho.
Well, sadly, I beg to differ on this one. It was a big, hard decision for me to make between a Peko and, of course, because there's some really lovely scenes, the songs aren't too bad, the performances are just about okay. So maybe television par dekho. I think then you can switch it off when you feel like, you can take a walk when you feel like. So I guess I'll go with TV par dekho.
But let's see what the audience had to say at Desi Martini.
That was our review of Ek Villain. Don't forget to catch the OMG moments from the film. And of course, please do subscribe to our channel, Friday Double Bill.